After talking with over 300 families about teens struggling with functional neurological disorder, I hear this many times. Parents saying, well, my teen doesn't want help. Well, he doesn't have a buy-in and we cannot force them. Guess what happens? Parents back off and they don't do anything, and the consequence is FND is taking over the family's life while parents continue to feel super powerless and frustrated. So let's talk about why giving up as a parent is never the answer and what to do instead. The what to do does not include forcing or coercing or making your child to do the thing that you want her to do. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, which is an online group coaching program to help teens with FND and their parents get their lives back by resolving the condition. So let's talk about this. Teens with FND often don't buy in right away. And I'm not talking about my program per se. I have had this experience in my private practice, my other colleagues, and when I worked in a hospital setting across the board. When it comes to teens not wanting to do the thing, then it becomes immediately parents' power struggle. And eventually, if the teen doesn't give in, parents back off and just give up, or the teen will say something like, fine, I'll do it for you, you win, kind of thing. And really, it just deters from what's really the problem here, which is in this scenario, functional neurological disorder. But why? Why teens don't get the buy-in? Because I have had this experience multiple times over the years of working with them. Number one, they feel hopeless because who knows how many doctors they have seen already for their condition and been told one after another, sort of they got sucked into this cycle of doom that this is something that is uncurable. This is something they have to live with and blah, blah, blah. So they feel hopeless, generally speaking, and they have tried things that didn't work. Therefore, they feel hopeless, or they just want to avoid more things on their plate, whether it's a more treatment or more program. Look, I have had so many families who, by the time they come see me, they have seen like 20 different doctors. And currently they're seeing 5 different doctors, right? PT, OT, speech, therapist, and then this doctor, chiropractor, acupuncture, all of these things. And like teens are so drained and so they are exhausted. Then naturally parents feel torn. Do I push? Do I back off? And literally this is the hardest part to be in as a parent, which by the way, if you're enjoying this kind of video, please hit subscribe and like button. And share this video with everyone on the planet, because the more awareness we have about teens with FND, the more support is going to be available over time. And it really starts with us building the community and awareness. So earlier in this video, I talked about why backing off completely does not work. Because what does it get you? Nothing. Because here's the deal. Doing nothing will send the message, whether you like it or not. Number one, you're on your own. Like you're basically sending this invisible script to your child. You're on your own. And then you also are sending second invisible message of maybe there is no way out. We are stuck in this doom and gloom cycle and you're on your own because I can't force you. I can't make you. And this is so frustrating. So maybe there is no way out. That is the kind of message that you are sending, whether you like it or not, and your child is likely be receiving. And teens, oddly, they actually need us, meaning parents, to hold hope when they can't. Let me repeat this and then let it sink in for a sec. Teens need you, parents, to hold hope when they can't. Because if you don't have a hope, how could you expect your teen to have high hopes? At the end of the day, you're the leader in the household. And this is why I specifically only work with teens and children and adolescents who have FND, because parents, you are the secret weapon. You are the solution. If you think that you're the problem or you're feeling powerless, keep watching, because there is a huge difference between forcing/making and guiding/encouraging. So I'm going to walk you through what that guiding and encouraging look like. So speaking of, let's get to it. No matter what happens, no matter what your teen says to refuse, or I don't think this is working, this doesn't help me, stuff like that. Once again, it doesn't have to be my program or my treatment approach. It can be just about anything. You, as a parent, stay calm and don't do this lecture, pressure, or threatening. Again, forcing, making, coercing, threatening, lecturing, they don't help. So might as well just get rid of that. If you are being pulled to that direction, then that is your not just a problem, but your power to solve that. It has nothing to do with your team. It has all to do with your natural inclination to be pulled to give that lecture, pressure, threaten. So that is yours to work on. And the other thing is, when I say having hope, you basically model the belief system that recovery is possible. If you don't believe that 1000%, not 99%, but 1000%, then your child is going to get that vibe of that 1% or 0.1% doubt from you. So you absolutely need to be committed. And if you think, yes, we are committed as long as our child is going to be doing it, that is not 100%. That is actually not even 99%. That is actually 50%, because your commitment is only based on your child's commitment. But you're the leader. So yes, it is important to get the buy-in from your teen, but if you're just letting your teen dictate when your child is not knowing what to do, burnt out, feeling hopeless, then you're basically leading a seriously blind, so to speak, right? So model the belief system that the recovery is possible no matter what. Okay. And then you be consistent. This is not the time to talk about when I was a child, or look like this, what Johnny is doing over here, kind of thing, because then you're immediately comparing yourself or other people with your child, which again goes into the making forcing territory, even though you may not know that you're doing that. But it inevitably goes into that territory. So don't even think about it. Just stay consistent. You can say something like this: I am here when you're ready, but I'm not going to pretend this isn't serious. So you just put your foot down. We know this is serious, so I'm not going to pretend that this is something that we can just forget about it, right? But you can also say, I'm here when you're ready, because we know that this is serious and deep down that you want to get better. Now, this is not so much about the forcing or threatening. It is simply, and it kind of has to do with how you say it as well, but you can say, yes, we are ready when you are, because we know you want to get better, because we know no matter how tired you feel, how hopeless you might feel, that this is a serious problem that we want to solve. And again, if you also have hard time staying consistent, like one day you're a good cop and then the other day you're a bad cop, kind of inconsistency, just sending a mixed message to your child. So your child is going to be more confused and more guard up, sort of like, what are you trying to tell me, kind of thing, right? So let's be consistent. And if you're having a hard time being consistent, then how could you expect your child to be consistent, right? So practice consistency and resist the temptation to go into this lecture and pressuring, threatening, that department. So then what does this guiding and encouraging mean or look like? So one is, you can basically set the expectations in terms of daily activities or behaviors or school, things like that. So something like this: I would like you to go to school every day, eventually, not like day one, or I would like us to have a family dinner again, or something like that. You can shape the environment by set expectations. Remember, you're the parents, so you can set the expectations. However, how to enforce that is where it becomes forcing versus encouraging department. So this part, not the forcing, but the encouragement part, when it comes to teens with FND, number one thing is you also need to know what FND is, because otherwise, how could you just have this empty hope that, oh yeah, recovery is possible? Well, recovery isn't going to happen automatically, right? So you kind of need to know what are the options out there and provide the options for your child. Not everything that comes your way, this is going to fatigue your child. And how can you know that you are actually in the right path? One thing that I can tell you is that you also need to be coached as a parent of what to do and what not to do. So if any of the treatment or program options do not include parent coaching portion, then I would say, how are you going to augment that lack of knowledge or lack of tools, for example, right? So if you know that part, parenting coaching, is available, then that is usually the first place to start for you parents. Remember, it is all about setting the expectation and then shape the environment. Instead of telling your child what needs to be done, you kind of have to walk the walk and then show your child what can be done, all right? So this is far more effective than you just telling about yourself or telling about somebody else that is rando, and somehow magically, teens are going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, wow, you've done this before, great, when you were a child, yay, I'm going to do that. It doesn't work like that, especially when it comes to FND. Their auto reaction is you don't know what it's like. You don't understand. You don't know about my experience because you are not me. And they are right? So you don't need to pretend that you know. You can only imagine the pain they're going through and struggle. That's why it goes back to you as a parent need the guidance and coach. So if any treatment or program only entails your child, then I would say, what about me? What about us? Because you as a parent are vital, essential part of the recovery. The other thing I want to say is most teens who come into my program, Teen FND Academy, I would say most of them don't really have the buy-in to begin with either. And so I wouldn't expect your child to be fully on board without knowing exactly what is it that they're getting into. However, with the right structure, environment, encouragement, they get curious and then they're going to commit to getting better. Because at the core, unless your teen adamantly doesn't want to get better, at the core, for the most part, they want to get better. But something is blocking. And that blocking isn't to hear one more nagging statement from you as a parent. And the last thing I want to say is that you don't wait for the motivation to kick in. You build it by creating the environment that is encouraging without forcing or making. Starting with your belief system, right? And then you also need to learn what FND is about. And then you need to get coached on what to do exactly on a daily basis. And by setting that expectation for daily activities, school, or what have you, then that is a good place to start. Now, if you're in this very stuck place and don't know what to do, you can't force your child, but you know this FND is serious enough that it's deteriorating your child's life and yours, frankly, then really what we do inside Teen FND Academy is exactly that. I help teens with FND and their parents on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, help them get unstuck. And I have seen one too many times of successfully these families getting unstuck. So you can be the next. And the link is below to apply for the program and see if you qualify for the program. And I would love to meet with you and your teen at the same time during the call so that I can have a better understanding of what might be going on and then how where you are with FND journey is going to fit with my program. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.